What's going on? What's going on, Jaguar family? What's happening? What's happening? You already know Jaguar Jibberish back in the building. Yes, sir.
Season 2.
Yeah, season two. Season two. We are here. We are better. And we are ready for the season. I'm your host, Marshall Bettis, along with my co-host, Mr. Greg Castillo. What's going on, brother? And with us today, we're very happy to have special guest, Coach Eric Young, with us. What's going on, Coach?
Championship
How y'all doing?
coach.
Still on the resume, but not anymore. New season, but yeah, I appreciate. I know it's a compliment, Greg. I know it's a compliment.
But we still like that talk right there. It's brand new season, and we got to clean the slate. Brand new team, some current members, but it's all new, and we're ready to defend and go after it again.
Yep, right. Defending champion. You know what I mean? You're defending the title. Right. But going into the Jaguar Jibberish, man, we hadn't had a chance to talk yet this season, but the Jaguars had a couple of preseason games against Strength and Motion, a couple of tune-up games. Learned some valuable lessons about starting fast, finishing games off during the preseason, and that really showed in this first game against Northwest Vista as the Jaguars took on the Wildcats yesterday. It came out with the victory 82-78 over a very scrappy and tough Northwest Vista team. I mean, they had a couple guys from last season. Mr. Quentin Judge, number 10, he led them in scoring. They also had number 2, Mr. Butler. A couple of new guys on their squad that really made them a tough out, especially in that first half. I mean, they went up on y'all quite early. Coach, talk to me about that first half and then also the second half adjustments that you guys made to get to that victory.
So I appreciate you guys having me on, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day because I will again announce that you don't get paid to do this. So I think that's the thing that I'm going to reiterate throughout the season, and it's not really for my sake. It's for everybody that volunteers their time to take out of their day, really their time and effort. Marshall, you're there at our games. You're our lead commentator in-house, and then with Greg, I know you always log on and you're watching over the computer, the stream, and then as well as Parabron Hawkins coming out and again giving his time, and then our new PR volunteer, which is Miss Hillary. She comes out and she's very new to the team and she's just here to learn. So I appreciate the spirits you guys bring. Just doing the best you can, and I appreciate you having faith in us. And I mean, yesterday we didn't really start off the way we wanted to. And y'all could hear me, right? Like,
yes.
I'm kind of clear. Okay. I think it was a lot of jitters. We, believe it or not, hadn't ever played together. I actually just switched up that starting lineup from last week when we had that scrimmage at our practice facility. I put Zach Munoz, who is a lefty, and he has a lot of left-handed tendencies. He's still learning how to be a ambidextrous player, but I think he brings extra shooting to our starting five, and I think that was the first time we actually started that starting five, which I believe in that starting five there's only one returner, which is Jaden Campos. All the other 4 are newcomers. We have Jalen Mangum, Zach Munoz, Javi Gonzalez, and then who am I missing? I said Zach, Jaden, Javi, Jalen, and Quez Harris. And they're all guys that are new to the system, and I believe all it is this is a product of what the city of San Antonio has really gotten into now as far as high school athletics. There's a lot of one-on-one being played. Usually what you see nowadays, and you go to a high school game and there's a lot of 5-out, these guys just spread the floor and they give their best player the ball and they let him score, and then everybody kind of feeds off of that. When, you know, in our focus here at, you know, Texas A&M men's club is that, you know, we have to be able to move off the ball, a lot of ball movement, and that's what happened the first half. The first half there was none of that. There was none of that. There was hardly to any, and the only reason why we had those 9 points in the beginning was because they were kind of, you know, hey, go get it at the rim. And I mean, that's great, but look at what happened within the span of 8 minutes. We're down 23-9 or something like that, 24-9. And I think at halftime, going into the half, we had to, you know, be honest with ourselves and say, hey, we made a run, but it's because of that bench. And I'll give credit to the bench. Bench came in there. I mean, we actually practiced that formation the day before. We said, hey, what if they come out in a 3-2 full court? Or what if they come into a 1-2-2 full court? And that's what they did. It was so weird. We had actually practiced that like the day before at practice. And we said it, hey, they're going to trap. You know, I mean, that's a thing that, like I said, I think I was telling Greg before we got on, I was telling him is that, you know, it's a lot of like, my biggest thing is seeing what the coaches are going to do. Coach, you know, I think he's a new coach to the team. I know the head coach from last year he was assisting on the bench, but I think this head coach is a new coach. And my thing was that, what was he going to try to come out with? And in the first, he came out with the press, and I was like, you know, not surprised. At the same time, it's like, hey, we're, you know, if that's what you got to do, usually when a team comes out in the press, that's their thing. So if you beat that, you know, that's their identity. If you beat that, you know, then they have to go to their second, and which was a zone. And, you know, don't put Jaden Campos in a zone. That's all I'm saying. Don't put him in the zone, because, you know, that kid is, you know, he has the IQ when he's able to slow the ball down, slow the pace. A lot of times we remember from last year, he was too quick. Yeah. He likes to take these shots too fast. Yeah. And, you know, I think when he plays calm and collect, he has the potential to be one of the best and, you know, on the court. But what happens a lot of times, I think both teams were very fortunate to not have the shot clock yesterday because it was the first game of the season. And I firmly believe that we play better with the shot clock because there's that sense of urgency that we need to make the right play. And because there wasn't, we were kind of like, hey, I can take my time. And then when the other team traps, you can't take your time. So it was like two different identities going on. But all that was said at halftime was like, guys, we practiced for this. I mean, the IQ on our team, we have a bunch of guys that play basketball and they're not like pickup stars. They actually study the game. And we just came out and we said, hey, let's just focus on getting stops. You can't score 30 points in one bucket. So we had to focus on defense first. And that's how the comeback was sparked. It was really sparked by the bench. And I think I'll give it to, who was it? It was Mejorado that was out there. It was Aiden Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. James Ibarra did a great job. He was probably our best off-ball mover yesterday. And those buckets being down, I think he hit those three buckets, 6 points, like started the run. And yeah. James, I'm going to tell you, James played for, you know, TAPS, Catholic School 3A school. And he's scoring on guys that are like, you know, 6A, you know, all these public schools. So, I mean, when these guys on our team see that guy's scoring like that at will, you know, it's kind of like, wow, like it's that easy. But yeah, we decided to play defense first, and yeah, that's kind of what was the focus coming out of half, and then just slowing the pace down, not being worried about them sending a trap. You know, we saw their best hand, and you know, I think we made the best of it.
Definitely. I thought, you know, coaches like to throw that trap out, the pressure out, you know, early on, set the tone, see if they can speed you up, make mistakes, test your ball handlers, test how much chemistry you have. And usually it works, especially in the beginning of the season. But so it was I thought early on it stifled you all to get in the half court offense. I thought there was not a lot of guard penetration on your end, but you made the adjustments and it really showed in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. One thing I noticed too is on the defensive side, especially in the second half, you guys were able to put a lot of pressure on their guards, come up with some steals. The momentum just you could tell the momentum was just shifting between. I know Quez Harris outright
Yeah.
rip the guy. So we got Patrick Beverly. Got a Patrick Beverly on our hands.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Mangum is, those two guys specifically in that second half were really helping to get y'all on that run, turn it around, especially when y'all took the lead
Right.
there on out. Talk to me about that type of leadership that you're looking from not only them, but some of your other veterans, the Jadens, the Raúls.
Yeah.
I know he didn't get a chance yesterday, but Bryson Barnett, get an
Yeah.
opportunity to play later on in the season.
Yeah, Bryson's coming off an injury, so very limited at practice. He's just starting getting in the groove. I think this was his full week of practice, this last one. And being as vets, the thing is that we want to stress that we are a defensive intensity team. We take pride in playing man-to-man defense. We we can go zone. We can do all that stuff. Like that's the thing here. I teach him everything. I say because I don't have a coaching staff. So the thing is that our philosophy is that we want to know everything and why to do it. We're not just going to go out there and just be in the motion of doing things. So when it comes to that defensive pressure, that's all that we were missing the first half. I don't know why it took a half to realize that playing back isn't a good thing. If you're gonna play man to man, you're there to pressure the ball. And the ref told us that because there was no shot clock last night, that they were gonna enforce the 5-second rule. So can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to enforce the 5-second rule. So I don't know why it wasn't called more, because we were playing defense on them tight, especially in the second half, and then that ball was being under duress. But the leadership, I think the returners have embraced their role, and the one thing we have to remember is that Raúl, Saldivar, and Bryson Barnett weren't the first top 7 guys last year. They were put in that position because of grades. When grades came out at the end of the first half of the year, they got thrusted into the 6, 7, and I think Raúl was even starting for us. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you remember Justin Uday would come off the bench. Yeah, he's doing great. They didn't offer his major at A&M, so he transferred to UTSA. So that's why he's not here. But, we miss him. Yeah, he comes and watches the games and stuff. So, but that's the leadership we need to see. And going forward, they understand that, that defensive pressure needs to be there. We'll pick up full court if we need to. We'll press. We have all this stuff in our bag. But the thing is that we want to make it known that once you cross this half court, we're going to be picking you up. And, that's the thing. And, I think we did a better job the second half. And, all it takes is one guy, right? We always talk about that. It takes one guy to set the tone. And I think who really set the tone was freshman Aiden Gonzalez. He had a couple of over-the-back calls. And, all you got to do is those simple things, learning from Coach Dial at Our Lady of the Lake. That's one thing that we preached all the time, and he preached all the time, was that doing the basics, the fundamentals. There's nothing special to basketball other than making these fundamentals your heart. You know what I mean? You got to box out. You got to close out properly. You got to pump fake, jab fake, whatever. But on the defensive end, those are two of my leaders. That's why they're starters, right? That's why Jalen Mangum's a starter. That's why Quez Harris is a starter, because you're supposed to get that off the back. And I think if you think about it, first game against Strength in Motion, that lineup was different the first game. And then the second game, Jalen was out of town, visiting his family. And then he was that lineup was different, So this was the first time these 5 actually took the floor together. So, I'm just more amazed that I knew we could do it, but I was just more amazed that the deficit was that large and we were able to pull it off. Like I knew we could pull it off, but I mean, it was the fact that like, man, it was kind of in a way good to see them mature within the short time they had from halftime, because I think I was telling my mom, I said, I think they came out on like a 16-5 run or something. We came out like on the 14. Yeah. So, I mean, they just needed to be waking up. Like, I think because, it was the first game of the season and, like I told them, I said, guys, I love you all to death and we are the defending champs, but this group is not the champs yet. We're not the champs yet. We have to earn that right. We're starting from the bottom of the mountain again. Yeah. And, the only one who left as a champion is still the champ is Parabron and Marie and Uday. They're still champs. These guys have to come out and earn it. And that was the talk at halftime. Like at the end of the game is that, every team's gunning for us. So, yeah, that was the mindset coming out of half is that, hey, like, we're not going to get pushed around. No offense. Northwest Vista definitely had a lot of great talented players, just like we did. We just came out and executed a little better in the second half.
Definitely. And it's one of those things you have to get to your team across is we're an undersized team, right? Outside of Jaden Campos, everybody's about the same size or about in the same area. So it's going to take a collective effort on rebounding, defense, to make that play the small ball kind of line up and make it work. So it's something that needs to be done. I thought Javi Gonzalez, I was watching his shot prior to this game, and I was like, it looks clean. It looks like it goes in. And just needed to be confident. And I was like, if he can provide floor spacing for this team, because, especially going against a zone, you're going to need Jaden Campos to flare to the, free throw line and make good decisions from there. Either distributing the ball to the corners or making a move and going to the basket one-on-one. But there's going to have to be shooters, right? And so I thought Javi Gonzalez stepping up and making some threes at times definitely helped out in this game. Yes. And going forward in the season to come.
And he's big time. Javi Gonzalez is big time. I know he was a little frustrated in the beginning because, the ball drive and dribbling was really heavy in the beginning. And, zone, you kind of want to play with the zone. I don't teach or I don't run zone when I coach my nephew's AAU team because I think it's not a bad thing when you have the athletes to do it. And if you teach it properly, the zones can be very deadly, especially because you're not supposed to allow any type of penetration. But once you do move the ball around a couple of times, which that bench did, those shots were open for days. We just got to make them. We got to understand that, I don't care if we're a club team or, NAIA team or Division I, NCAA Division II or whatever. It's we need to make some shots. You're a college player now, and that needs to happen. They should take a page out of Marshall's book and just throw it up there and, just let it fly because, and Javi Gonzalez does that. The only thing I did critique him on was that, man, stop shooting these 40-footers. You know what I mean? These 40-footers, they really get me upset because for one, we want to be consistent. And if you want to practice that on your own time, that's fine. Or when we do it at practice, but in rhythm in the game, you want to get as close as possible to that line or even, in the middle of that line or where he was at. But when you're at like 38, 35 feet, that's kind of fortunate. Like there's only one Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's only one Steph Curry. There's only one Damian Lillard, and those guys, they practice a lot. So, I think we need to work within ourselves, and that goes back to the same thing we said. But, I appreciate you highlighting him because he's definitely a difference maker. He's definitely something we didn't have last year.
Yeah.
And I think looking at this team, there's definitely a bunch of guys that, like I said, complement our play style. We just need to learn how to do it within the system. So, it was good. It was a good show.
And Coach, speaking to that, yesterday I had a chance to talk to a couple of those guys from Northwest Vista. I do know a couple of them, and I played with them in years past.
Yeah, you're pretty famous, Marshall. I saw you dabbing everybody up, and they're like, "Hey, I know him, man." And then Marshall knows everybody in the room. I don't know, you probably work them in those men's leagues, but they're like, "We're glad he's not suiting out tonight," like that.
My time is well past. My time is well past.
It
But
was funny. It was funny. Hold on. Funny story
right.
because him and Parabron are like, man, we could go back for our masters. And Marshall was close, man. Marshall was close for playing. I'm glad he didn't, and I'm glad he did think about it. But at the same time, like you said, we love you out here and what you do, man. So I just want to say thanks again.
Yes,
You could come
absolutely.
school them at practice. You come school my guys at practice as much as you want.
Well, from I'll get into that game. We got to come back and
Yeah,
avenge that. But
yeah,
just talking to some of those guys at the end of the game from Vista, they remember our team last year because they had a few guys coming back, and at the beginning of the game, I heard some chatter about where's Parabron? Where's Nick? Where's Mario? Where are those other? Oh, you got a new number one. Who's this, that, and the other. So they kind of came into the game thinking, well, they're not the same team as last year. We can really really take it to them, and they jumped out on y'all. But the depth of this team is something that compared with last year, you guys have more depth this year. And it really really showed, especially in that second half coming out. Starting off games is still seems to be a little bit of an issue. Starting off fast, and I'll even take that back to our scrimmage that our guys had with y'all. Guys started off very very slow, went down big, but you kept clawing back.
yeah,
The rotation that you have this year, with so many bodies that you can throw in, is spectacular. Once you guys are able to get into your offense, it's a little bit more settled down, versus last year. So I definitely, commend you on a hell of a coaching job this far and moving forward. You got these guys working. Still a lot of work to do, of course,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you're getting these guys in shape. Absolutely.
I and to talk about that real quick,
Yeah.
dude, um, we're just blessed. Um, took a lot of criticism in the off season on how the end of our documentary came out. I do not condole the language that was on that end season. So we edited. We edited. I mean, I like that music too, but we need to remember that we are a family friendly environment. We are representing the university. We need to keep things PG-13. But if it wasn't for that, um, that year, this school wouldn't be known. And the thing is that I've been accused of saying like, "Hey, do you tell these guys y'all are athletics? Like, do you make sure that you tell the team that you're a club?" I do tell them that. Marshall, you've been there the first week of tryouts where I tell them, "Guys, we're a club team." But with that said, this year we have 20, 28, 30 plus games on our schedule. If you haven't seen the schedule, and then the thing is that these guys come into work. Sometimes we hit 2 a day. Sometimes we hit, Friday night practice, Friday morning practice, and I mean, you know, it is what you make it. And the depth of this team, we have a lot of great, talented basketball players. They're not just one sided,
Yeah.
So it's, and that's the goal. Even like Amari, when he came in last year, Amari was a straight slasher. By the end of the season, he was one of the better shooters. That's what we do here. That's what I enjoy as a coach, is teaching the things that they're not so good at and making them better at. That's the job of a coach. And they're not you know they're not doing anything different this year. I mean, Mari is training kids now. He actually got his certification in athletic training. Parabra, he's a director at a sports academy. And then Nick, well, he decided to focus on his studies because that comes first. So, things like that definitely make an impact. But no, man, yeah, I mean, I was just talking to my moms about that. Like I said, I usually have breakfast after the day after the game with my mom and my dad, and I was telling my mom, I said, "Mom, this is going to be a pretty good team, and it seems to be lunchtime here at McDonald's." So all these people, yeah. So I know, shout out Mama, Mama's here, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, so the kids are in the house now, so it's going to probably get a little out. But no, yeah, it's going to be a blessing to coach these guys. I mean, it's a great team. I think we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but 2014 Spurs. That's all I got to say about
Ooh,
that.
I like
beautiful game.
But I'm not getting ahead of myself. So
Beautiful game. So, Coach, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Guys, we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back.
okay.
All righty. We are back. We want to thank our sponsors as always from Sweat Equity. Got to figure out that a little bit.
That was cool. No, I mean, that I didn't even know they had a commercial, so that was pretty nice to see.
Yeah.
It looks like it's fitted for social media.
Yeah.
You gotta make it-
Instagram posts, right?
Yeah. But we want to take.
So, we're learning, man. We're
Yeah.
learning.
We want to thank our guys from Sweat Equity, Cryo, and then we also want to thank Taco Haven,
The OG sponsor.
OG sponsor, Taco Haven.
Yeah, Taco Haven, Southtown.
Taco
we
Haven,
go.
Southtown. But I do want to bring up the schedule.
Yeah, a pride and joy of the season.
Yes.
Pride and joy. Worked hard for that.
So, all right. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see my screen?
No, I gotta add it. You want me to add it?
Yes, add it.
There it is.
All right.
It's a little
So,
Zoom in a little bit.
Can y'all see me now? Can y'all see it now? Still
It's
far?
still a little far,
Yeah, still far.
fuzzy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I can make it any bigger than that.
I can't see that one.
Y'all could. Did it get any better? No, still. If I do full.
Not really, but we can just go with it.
Yeah. I think I could pull it up on my end. Let's see the same thing.
Apologies. We're still trying to get it. We're still trying to get it rolling. Did I get
There
a
we
little
go. There
better?
we go. Keep going. Keep going.
Greg.
Yeah, it's getting better. Just one more. There we go. Okay, there
Oh
we go.
man, look at that.
Oh, too far.
Oh
Too far.
man.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Good jading with the
All right,
flex.
cool.
Pretty cool, man.
All right.
My wife took the pictures.
All right, so
my wife took the pictures. Her friend came out with the green screen. Funny story. We were allowed in the media room thanks to El Espejo. They're on campus, but unfortunately, I got home that night, put the SD card down. When my dog ate the SD card, man. So I mean, we had to take some.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he chewed it up. He didn't eat it. He chewed it up. So we had to retake them, and thank God for my wife and her friend because they made this possible.
Nice.
Yeah,
It takes a family to make this all happen. And
it
Coach
does.
G.
It does. Yes, we're trying to spread that. It takes a family. It takes a community, right?
Yeah.
It takes a community.
And speaking of that, if you want to check out all the pictures and everything from that, go ahead and go to Musa MC Beatball on Instagram. All those pictures are really good looking. And if you want to check out anything and all the information will be there.
yes, absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely.
Like
So,
them and share them.
Yeah.
like them and share 'em. Got this game against Northwest Vista. So next week, you guys will be taking on St. Phillips at 8 p.m. Over, I believe they have a new gym now. Is that correct,
Right.
Coach?
Right. I believe it's next to their culinary building. They had just made a culinary building a few years back, and I believe they just built their new gymnasium right next to it.
Right. So that game, we'll be looking forward to that game next week on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Coverage will start at 7:50 for us. Yeah, Coach. So going through this schedule, you have some really, really good games this year. We were able to expand not just for the Alamo colleges and then OU, but you're able to get certain teams such as Houston Tillotson, Lone Star Sci-Fair, Temple, just to name a few of these games. This is a very very good first. I'll call it a quarter of the schedule because I know we have the other two parts. Any particular game that you're really looking forward to?
No, I got to look forward to Our Lady of the Lake game, only because it's family over there. I was part of their coaching staff about 2-3 years ago, and I was able to meet some of the young men that they got out there, playing for them. So it's always good to see those guys, and I always remember those practices, very hardworking, fundamentally sound practices. So that's always a game that I look forward to. But to be honest, I'm looking forward to all these teams because if you remember our season last year for this TSAC league, this TSAC division, it was about eight games. After the fall, it was in the spring. It was about 8, and this year we play everybody at least 3 times. So I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I mean, I want to see how people have grown. I want to see, how just like yesterday, it was good to see number 10. What was his name? The point guard,
Quentin Judge.
Yeah, it was great to see Quentin add a jump shot to his arsenal, to his bag, because that's what this is, man. Like I think I really enjoy seeing the city of San Antonio basketball grow. And I think, seeing even the colleges like that, the Alamo colleges, like they all have hoopers, man. Don't be, surprised when you see they have a couple of guys. I think what I heard, because my good friend Coach Batoni was out there at the game last night. He was watching San Antonio College play against St. Phillips, and I think he said San Antonio College was winning 61-20 at halftime. So I mean that's definitely a team that didn't play last year. San Antonio College didn't have a team, and actually my former college coach is their head coach now. So I'm looking forward to seeing them too. I mean, they have a bunch of great athletes. I think their administration definitely backs them up. That's what Coach Alcala told me, which is their head coach, Coach Alcala. He said, he goes, man, my president here at SAC, he had my back. He said, whatever I need to do to make this possible, that they did not like not having a team last year. So, I mean, they're off to a good start. And they also played against Strength in Motion that same Friday that we were playing them, and they're stacked. So they have a good bench up to like 20. They're like us. They have a good bench. So I'm very excited to see them too, because, I get to coach against my former coach, and he's always had nothing but good things to say. He actually would go out to watch us play every game he could last year. And he was on the coaching staff at OLU as well. So, I mean, it's just, I appreciate all the compliments from these guys, but I mean, of course, we're going to be playing, historical black college at Houston Tillotson. That's going to be fun. I think just the experience of the boys going up there. We really take pride in our diversity, and you see Quez in that picture wearing a cowboy hat. I like the idea. I like the idea because it's like the pictures are like, be yourself. Let's not, that's the thing about the club team, is that we get to be ourselves, and we like to promote that. But I mean, Temple Junior College, another good friend of mine, Coach Cliff Ellis, the head coach there. That's gonna be a good game, because I think they routed OLU last year by 40, and we beat them by 10, and then of course they beat us in a couple other games we had. So I mean, it's all challenges, man. I think I accept the challenge, and we have definitely a group, like I said, because the youth of our team. These are all perfect games for us. Lone Star Sci-Fair, another JUCO, who they have their teams, their squads out there, and
shout out Norby Salazar.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a great challenge. And again, see, like, these are all good games going into, if you want to slide over, Marshall. I know we're focusing on this first part, but that lineup of games, like to the next page. Is there like?
Let me get over.
Okay, don't worry about it. We'll get there another time. But so these games will ultimately set us up for that that national championship run that we want this year. We do want, one of our goals is to repeat as TSAC champions. Another goal is to go out there and represent at the University of Missouri, the Tigers, the actual D1 school. That's where our regional tournament will be. So we definitely want to go get that this year, which last year we ended up in the Elite Eight, lost to Lamar University. And then, at the end of the year, in April, we want to be playing for that national title. And those are our goals. And these games against these teams will definitely make it a reality. So I'm very excited for that. That schedule wasn't an easy schedule to make. That schedule had been in the works since March of last year, like still during the season. And I was criticized, saying nobody schedules games this early for next year. Well, no, I mean, that's what needed to be done to get these games. And I just wanted to shout out all the coaches from Jarvis Christian to Cy-Fair to Houston Tillotson to Temple to, Shriner to Olu. I just want to give them a very great thank you, and I appreciate each and every one of them, because it's supposed to be for the students. You know what I mean? It's not. That's what we're forgetting sometimes, is that it's for the players. So I just want to say thank you on this broadcast, whether people are watching or not. I just want them to know that I appreciate them.
Right. Greg, I have the second page if you want to bring it up. Here we go.
Yeah, so you see, as it says right there in February, that's when our NERSA and Holy Patriot too, a brand new team as well. They called me, and they were able to set up games with us in SAC. So, I mean, there's definitely some other community colleges that are going to be playing these guys. I know San Antonio College, they got a couple of games against Olu, and then as well as Temple. But, yeah, that's our goal right there, that NERSA regional tournament. That's that one that's going to be taking place at the University of Missouri. And that's going to be a great experience. Last year we went up to UT Arlington, and that was an amazing experience. But this year it seems that we'll be going out of state to this tournament over there in the University of Missouri, and then the national tournament. I don't know where it's going to be at yet. I think they're down to like 5 schools, but I think it might be like Clemson, Duke, or Notre Dame or something like that. So yeah, those would be some cool experiences. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And then, like, I don't know if you see that those in black lettering, we actually secured a gymnasium for our home games. So we will have a home game, and it will all be played at the Christian school at Castle Hills, which is over there on North Military here in San Antonio. So those would be where our 7 home games are played at.
Yep. So we actually have some home games this year. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, 7 to not just 1. So we're very excited for that.
So all Jag Nation that's watching on right now or on the replay, make sure you go out and head out to that location and support the Jaguars. We saw a lot of people came out to the the away games. Yes. But now
yesterday was
the
fun.
Home games.
Yeah, yesterday a lot of fans. I love our parents. I love our fans. Please continue to follow us. We thank you all.
That was I have to say, Coach, that was probably outside of the championship game, the playoffs last year. That's probably the most packed house that I have seen. Maybe other than the home game that we had last year, which was an aberration.
It needed to happen. It needed to happen. Yeah. Marshall, you're the one who did that interview when we were in Arlington, and I told you when we beat UCLA and when we beat Oregon, I told you, I said, if it wasn't for Palo Alto kicking our butt that night, we wouldn't have played that good. So again, I always remind them, I think, not out of arrogance, I thank Palo Alto for kicking our butt, because I really didn't know what the heck that night was about either. So I mean, but yeah, we always need one of those games.
Yep.
I thought that was a turning point of the season too.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
Yep. And they kicked their butt right back. That's what I'm talking about.
I finally saw that game, and I heard y'all's commentary, and there's a little more attitude in that commentary, like, so but no, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we thank you for being on with us. Everybody that's watching was able to check us out. We thank you for those watching later. Check out Jaguar Jibberish. Again, what's the page they can follow us at, Greg?
It's right there on the page, Tamisa MC MCB ball.
Yeah.
So,
Check it out.
real quick, all we did, we changed the page. We put the C at the end of B-ball. So just letting you know. So it's the same thing as Tamusa and B-ball C.
All
So
right.
just letting y'all know. And you're saying, well, why did we do that?
Mm.
I kind of wanted to imitate FC Barcelona. You know, like they do Football Club Barcelona. I think it sounds a little more like, you know, yeah, men's club basketball, that sounds cute, but I mean basketball club sounds better because when you look at those FIBA teams, that's what it says, BBLC, so basketball club, licensed club. So that's kind of what the, you know, I mean, we're having fun with it too over here, and I mean, but we need to remember that it's about helping these guys continue going to this 4-year college. There you go, my man. Look at that. It's so inspirational.
On the spot.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and,
Right.
you know, these guys. I mean, this is. I think last year I said, last year was the greatest group of players we had because of the impact it had on the whole university, whether it's acknowledged or not. Enrollment doesn't go up that much by itself. You know what I mean? So I still have people emailing, hey, is it too late? And a lot. Is it too late to join the team? Unfortunately, it is. We have tryouts in August, and then we have tryouts for the spring. But the fact of the matter is that last year was probably the greatest team as far as like what it meant. It meant for the school. It meant for the team, the program of rec sports or sports club, whatever you want to call it. And this year will be the best team, as you guys pointed out. A lot of things. You see a lot of great things. And that was our first game playing together. So I'm excited to see how this goes, and I appreciate y'all having me on here. And you know, I appreciate you letting me show my mom off. You know, see one more time.
There you
We were here for breakfast. We might have lunch here too. So so no, but guys, thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate you, Marshall. I appreciate you. You know I do. And you know, I mean, we definitely need to get together at the end of this season to celebrate. The championships we'll be hoisting at the end of the year, because I have the same feeling I had last year. It's the same feeling I have now, and I mean, like you said, if we clean up and sharpen the spots we need to, I mean, I don't, you know, I'm very interested in seeing how this team's going to look. Like I said, they're going to be pretty good. So appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's going to do it for this one. For everybody watching, again, we appreciate y'all. We'll be back Wednesday. We'll be taking on St. Phillips, 8 p.m. start time. Come support if you can. If not, we'll have the link for YouTube. Y'all can check it out there. Coverage will start at 7:50. Hopefully, they actually start at 8 instead of a little bit earlier. Kind of threw us off, but we're working through everything right now. So you'll you know, bear with us. So, but for Coach Leon, for Greg and myself, that's been the show. We'll catch y'all next time. Jaguar Nation, going back.
Appreciate it, y'all. See y'all later.